Listen, if it's one thing that I'm pretty sure we're all aware of is that life is out here moving fast, okay? It's a lot going on. We got society telling us what we should be doing, we should be, all while we're still trying to figure ourselves out. But you know what we can do? We can be mindful of where we are in this present moment and take small steps towards becoming better by the day and towards reaching our God-given purpose. So let's figure it out and work through it together. Welcome to Mindful Moments, y'all. A space where we talk it out, laugh it out, cry it out, hash it out. Listen, just get it all out, okay? This is a safe space for you, where we talk about the ups, the downs, even the in-betweens. A place where we go through it so we can grow through it. Tune in every week as we fill our minds with who we're destined to be, with positivity, with awareness, and honestly, just with love. So I encourage you, let's be mindful of today in hopes for, yes, a better you, but also in hopes for a better tomorrow. Again, welcome to Mindful Moments. Welcome back to another episode of Mindful Moments. I am your host, Jada Lowe. For everybody that's coming back, what's popping, what's good, and for those who are just now tuning in, if this is the first time you have come across this Mindful Moments platform, whether it be YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, if you came here from watching a clip on Instagram or TikTok, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. I hope that you're here to stay. We are a community who likes to stay mindful. We are a community that encourages. We are a community that loves the Lord. And we are a community that we just trying to figure it out day by day. We're taking it one day at a time. But yeah, glad to have everybody here. How y'all feeling? How y'all doing? I realize, like, when I ask y'all that at the beginning of every episode, I don't ever respond and answer it to y'all. So how am I feeling? How am I doing? I'm doing pretty decent. I give myself like a 6.8 to a 7, anywhere between that range. So like, I feel good. I feel all right. But yeah, we're trucking through. That's how everything's going. So the topic that I want us to talk about today is the infamous, it's a word that can make you cringe. It's a word that makes us either uncomfortable or irrational. But it is the C word, that word being control. I know. She said it. I said it. Control. Control, 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 control. My favorite word, because we're going to get this thing right. We're going to get it right. So let's talk about control, because I know that especially for anybody listening that may be, I don't want to exclusively put it to people in their 20s, but like college, like high school, college, out of college, like, you know what, at this point, everybody, I feel like we all have areas of our lives that we try to control. There are areas of our lives that we're not supposed to control, that we have in a chokehold and need to let go of. And there are areas that we're supposed to control and we have absolutely no control over it at all. So let's dive into all of those things, okay? But first, we got to define control. So control is control is the power to influence or direct people's behavior or the course of events. So when it comes to influencing and directing course of events, I have a master's degree in that. I'm going to try to influence a situation as much as I can to where the outcome can work out in my favor. I'm going to try to, I got to direct something. Put the hat on me, give me a seat, and tape direct on the back in white. I have to have control over that situation. If not 100%, some type of percentage, I better get some kind of cut. I want to have some type of control over that situation, especially if it's something that I want, especially if it's something that I'm going after. Jada needs some type of control. But I've learned that life doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. And I believe God has intentionally given us things to control and things that are out of our control. That way we can give it to Him and surrender to him. We'll get into that too. Um, but yeah, that's my issue, is the directing the course of events. I need to be able to turn it. I need to be able to swerve it. I need to be able to cut, maneuver through any way I please. Any way I please. I know I'm not the only one like that. I'm just speaking for myself. But a tough pill that I had to swallow was that you can influence the outcome, but you can't control it. Oof. You know, trying to help you guys, and when I have to say these things out loud, I'm not gonna cap you up, down, or around downtown. Sometimes it stings, okay? It stings, like saying that, because I know, like, there are still things that come up, and there are things that I'm still seeing that I still try to have control over, that I'm not really supposed to have full control over. And so knowing that I can influence it, but I can't control it, cut the cameras. Cut the cameras. That's really how I feel about it. Cut the cameras. Give me the control back. Yada yada yada. Cut the cameras. But that's the reality of it. I don't want to say like the harsh reality, but it's a reality that if we want to maneuver through life better, it's something that we're going to have to come to terms with, and it's something that we're going to have to understand, that you can't control the outcome. You can influence it, but you can't ultimately control it. So how do we let go of all control, in the sense of the things that we're supposed to not have control over? And I'll tell y'all a little bit about like what's helped me. And to be honest, like letting go of control, or like letting go of the things that I couldn't control, didn't come from like such a positive experience. I got to a place where I realized trying to have control of everything caused me to lose control, which made me feel like my life was chaotic. And I realized, like, okay, God, you gotta take some of this. You have to take something, because like I can't do this by myself. And I think sometimes we try to be God when we try to control everything. And it's like that's the last thing that I want to do. But yeah, I was just, when I had everything in a chokehold, when I had everything to where I wanted to have, I'm talking full control, y'all. Like there are things that we want to go our way, and there are things that we'll sometimes even manipulate to get it to go our way. There are things that we'll try to influence or like direct to get it to go our way. That's what I just read it. That's what control is. And when I tried to do that, or when I did do that and attempted to do that, it only created more chaos. And it taught me that there's no way everything that happens in your life, and given the fact that there are outside factors, there's no way we'll be able to have full control over everything that we go through. There's no way we'll be able to have full control even over the outcome itself. You'll never be able to have control over that. I don't want to say like nothing is 100% guaranteed, but you just don't know. You can only do the best that you can with what you've been given to control, and you can only do the best you can with what you've been given, to where you know that and I'll talk about it later too, where you put your best foot forward to be able to influence it in the best way possible. But as far as stressing yourself out because you're trying to do all of these things and be a magician and all this stuff to control it, that's going to drive you crazy. It's going to drive you crazy. But it's letting go of control, in the sense of the things that I should give to God. It's helped me. Letting go of those things has helped me to better control what he's given me to control. I can control a lot of things. I can control my behavior. I can control my attitude. I can control my behavior. I can control my attitude. I can control my responses. I can control my words. And amongst other things too. But those are the things that I can control when outside factors come in, or when situations happen. Those are the things that I can control. I'm responsible for me and how I respond. Yeah, and it took a mental weight off of me once I stopped trying to control everything. Because trying to control everything, now you stressed out. You've put unnecessary pressure on yourself, and now you feel like you have to spearhead all these areas of your life when you were only called and meant to spearhead certain things and surrender to God in those other areas. And you see, one thing I saw was that when I started controlling what I was supposed to control, and when I gave to God what I couldn't control, and when I also gave to God the things that He gave me to control, because sometimes the things we're given to control, we don't take care of them. We don't take care of them the best way. So you still have to be prayerful over that, so that you don't lose control over the things you were meant and given to control. So that's like a responsibility, but when you do those things, it meshes very well together, and it becomes more peaceful. Not that life gets easy after that, but there are a lot of things that we can do to make certain things in our lives more manageable, and not easier to bear, but more manageable. More manageable. Is it still hard? Yes, there are things that come up where my finger be itching because I want to, like, I want to, if a situation had a neck and I could put it in a chokehold and I could control it and tell it to do this and this and this, I'd do it. It's still hard in certain areas, but learning how to let the surrender and the controlling what I can control coexist, and being prayerful about both of them has made life a lot more peaceful and manageable. Still have times, but overall more peaceful and manageable. And I know the need to control can come from a lot of things. One of those things can be like a trauma response. One thing that I definitely did when or one reason why I felt like I needed to control everything was to protect myself. But I realized it made me beat myself up more rather than protecting me. Like, if there was like a situation and I wanted it, or let's say like there was this job that I wanted, right? And I applied to it. I did everything I could. I put my best foot forward. But at the end of the day, I can't tell these people to hire me. I can only convince them to hire me. But me wanting to have full control over the situation to like protect myself, it ended up being like, if I didn't get it, it's like, dang, well, I didn't control as much as I could have, or yada, yada, yada. But it's like, Jada, like, there was only so much you could do. There's only so much you can do in certain situations because the other variables are out of your control. So I do get, but me saying that trying to have control is due to a lot of reasons, that doesn't excuse the fact that, or ignore or negate the fact that we're supposed to have control of everything, because we're not. We're not supposed to have control over everything. So just want to throw that disclaimer out there. But it ends up doing more harm than good when you try to have every aspect of your life in a chokehold. But yeah, there are things that God has given me out of our control. Slow down, find it. There are things that God has given me within my control, and there are things that aren't in my control. For people who believe in God, I truly, truly believe like God is the most intentional, just intentional. And sometimes it's mind-boggling to me, because sometimes I place myself, just hear me out, I place myself in the position of God. Could never be him. Never. Don't want to. Because anywho. But I'm like, you know what? That wouldn't be a good analogy. Okay, scratch that. But yes, there are things that he's given me that's outside of my control. Some of those things, what, Jada? Find it. Y'all, I said we weren't going to do this. These episodes. I need to start slowing down, y'all. That's what I need to do. Slow down, Jada. Anywho, there are things that God has given us that are in our control, and there are things that simply aren't. Just like I can control my actions, I can't control somebody else's reactions. I can't control how somebody else sees me. I can't control, but I think the biggest one that we get caught up in, we can't control the outcome of our efforts. And I think that's another thing to be mindful of too. Don't internalize things when you know you put your best foot forward and still didn't get the outcome that you wanted. Because sometimes and I'm guilty of it too. I've responded to those types of situations by trying to control the situations in the future, or by trying to put myself in situations that I knew I could control a little better. I think that's like a big one that we get caught up on, is trying to control the outcome of our efforts. Like I said with the job analogy, there was just literally only so much that I could do, only so much. What another thing that's out of my control, past mistakes, the opinions of other people, how people view you. That's another thing. Like, perception is a big thing for me, and it's just like, that's another big word, but we'll get to that too. And the other big thing, y'all, that's out of our control, the future, babe. The future is out of our control. I don't know what's like, and that's a prime example of, you can influence the outcome but you can't control it. I can only do the things that I know is going to serve me, put myself in the best situations that I know how to put myself in better positions, and that'll help me grow, help me evolve, to put myself around the people that'll do the same, to learn from my past, to be able to influence a better future. I can't twirl my hand and say this is what the future needs to do. And even if you influence it to the point where you can kind of gauge what's going to happen in the future, you still don't know. You still do not know. That's the other big one too. Like, trying to control the future. Those are just some of the things, y'all, that are just out of our control. And I feel like when we get so caught up on, we get, most of the time, and for me in particular too, I get more caught up on the things that I get more caught up on the things that I can't control, rather than the things that I've been given to control. And that's shown me, and that's taught me, and it's proven time and time again for me, that correlates with worrying, stress, and anxiety. All of them. Like, when I try to have control over everything, more specifically the things that I can't control, it causes me to worry and to internalize things, because I'm like, okay, I didn't do my best, and it causes me to like doubt myself. I did my best. I did all that I could do, but it's like, dang, I didn't do this, so now this not gonna happen this way, or I didn't do this, and I did this, and they did this, so that means this, and now I'm worried about how this is gonna play out. Like, all of that worrying is so draining. It's so draining. And just when we focus on like what's out of our control, because it's so big in our heads. And granted, the things that we can't control, those are some big things, like the future, like the outcome of the stuff we do, even when we put our best foot forward, knowing that even though I put my best foot forward, it could still lead to me not getting the outcome that I'd prefer. That's a big thing to like think through and to handle. But we just can't. I know it's easier said than done. We can't worry about it. I feel like we have to surrender and we have to surrender and shift. We have to shift our focus, because when we start focusing on what we can control and what God's given us to control, I believe that starts to create confidence. God doesn't give us more than we can bear. And I know that he's given us things that are in our control, right? But I believe that's done intentionally too, because when you control the things you can, I believe that develops a confidence. And you develop more confidence in God and yourself when you just surrender and just like let go. It takes the stress off of you, and you see, hey, these things that I was trying to control, that I was never meant to control, if I give it to him, and when I give it to him, that produces more peace, that produces less worry, and that produces like more trust. Because for me, I know, like, even this, like talking to y'all, I can't do it alone. There are some things that that I can't control when it comes. I can't control my reach when it comes to here. I want to reach a lot of people. I pray I end up reaching a lot of people, not for fame or anything like that, but I just genuinely want to help people. But I can only control. I know I can control turning the camera on. I know I can control planning. I know I can control um like speaking from the heart, and I know I can control producing and putting it out. There are just other things that are outside of my control. That's just but I can't worry. I know that I'm putting my best foot forward each and every time, and I have to surrender the things that I can't control to God, and inadvertently that creates a sense of trust. That's one thing that I've really learned is like when you surrender and give the things that you can't control to him, and you see how it produces a sense of peace. I feel like that peace produces trust too, because it's like God got my back. God's got my back, and I trust that he'll show me no matter what it is. If it's something that's supposed to work out, it'll work out. If it's something that I wanted to work out but it didn't work out, I trust that he'll show me which way to go. But all of everything encompassed in that falls under but the things that fall under that, excuse me, is controlling what you can and giving to him what you can't. Because if you be honest, if you were to, first of all, if you were to do it all yourself, you'd run yourself into the ground, or at least I know I would. But also like you wouldn't be for real, y'all. Like, how much credit would you really give God if you did all of it yourself? It'd be some stuff that I do. No. It'd be some stuff that God do, and I'd be like, oh, I did that. Like, girl, be for real. No, you didn't. No, you did not. So, like, that part is intentional because it creates a reliance on Him, and it's a partnership in certain aspects too. That surrendering and that trusting, and He'll show you too. Like, it's some stuff that's out of my control that I'm just not built for. I know, like, I've come to terms with the fact, like, if I actually had to control the things that were out of my control, baby, I'll be running like a chicken with my head cut off. But yeah, this is the statement that I want y'all to remember that I believe sums it up too. You've probably heard it. Pray like it depends on God. Don't break your computer, Jay. Pray like it depends on God. Work like it depends on you. The praying comes in through the prayer surrenders. The prayer equates to the surrendering. The work equates to the things that you can control. Those things partner together, not to necessarily get the outcome you want. Because I don't want y'all to think like you're gonna always get the outcome you want. That's not always the case. But that's the partnership aspect that I want us to see. But I realized like a lot of my need for wanting to control everything flat out was because I didn't trust God. I said I did, but when I have these things so tight, one of my things, prime example, one of my things was like, if I were to lose somebody or somebody that I cared for, we weren't in each other's lives anymore. In my head, I still wanted to be able to not control that person, but to control the thought of them, or to control like the communication with them, because I know if I'm talking to you, that means you're okay. But if you know like this person isn't just supposed to be here, if you know this person isn't supposed to be here in this season, but you're still trying to like communicate for the sake of you knowing that they're okay, then are you really trusting God to take care of this person? Just like you love God and you trust God to take care of you, why can't you give God that same, not just that same courtesy, but to know that He's just as good to take care of them too? Just like He was taking care of these people when they were in your life, what makes you think it would be any different when they're not in your life anymore? That's like an aspect of control that I was like, dang, I'm trying to like inadvertently, like in my mind, control this, because I don't think I fully trust God to be able to like take care of them, or I fully trust God with this situation. So let me take it from Him and take it myself. And I kid you not, every time I snatch something that I wasn't supposed to snatch from God, boop. But that's besides the point. But yeah, I just wanted my hand in everything, and that's not how it works, y'all. I'm at a place now where it's like I don't I don't want my hand in everything. I don't. If my finger only meant to be here, so be it. If there's some things that God said don't touch that, I'm gonna be like, you got it, because it's not worth. Some things aren't worth the worry. It's not worth the worry. But yeah, it takes intentionality. Um, Another thing too, like you can control what you can control, and you can let go of the things that you can't control. But the thing that I've learned too is that it does take a lot of intentionality to focus on what you can control. Because sometimes it feels like you ever felt like when you were trying to focus on something, the opposite of that just kept coming. And it's like, dang, I'm trying to focus on what I can control. Why is all of this stuff that I can't control coming at me? And now I feel like I got to control that too. But just I would encourage you, if you're in that type of season, or if you're listening to this and you're in a place where you're like, I I don't want to control everything. I don't want to run everything in my life anymore. I want to actually surrender and give it to God. And there are things in my life that I know control wise I need to let go of. Know that while it's not easy, I encourage you to still do it, because I do see the benefits that I've reaped through peace and even joy just from like letting go of the things that I just simply can't control. It does take discipline. It does take intentionality, and it doesn't happen overnight, and that's okay. Nothing good does. But you have the ability to be intentional and disciplines. Re-examine like where you're putting your effort as far as what you're giving, not what you're giving control to, but what you're trying to control. Focus on what, as plain as it is, focus on what you can control, and take the pressure of having to know the outcome of everything off of you. Don't put that on yourself. Don't put it on yourself. Just know that if you focus on what you can control and put your best foot forward, you can only influence the outcome. You can't control it. But if you're responsible for you, put your best foot forward each and every day, and let the outcome be the outcome. The outcome that's meant to go your way. If in a Jada, come on, Jada, find it, girl, find it. Put your best foot forward, and the things that you want, like as far as like the outcomes, if they align, with what God wants for you too, it'll happen. It'll happen, but that's gonna come with a little bit of surrender, baby. It's gonna come with a little bit of surrender. But you can do it. You can do it. I know this topic it doesn't make me queasy or nothing like that, but like control is wild. It's wild. It's wild. Sometimes I feel like it's in our innate nature to just want to grab hold of everything and be able to know everything and to control everything and to have everything in a chokehold so we can get what we want. But some things just aren't in our capacity to control, and that's okay. But know that you can do it, because then when you do put your best foot forward, even if you don't get the outcome you want, you know that I controlled everything that I could, and you can still walk with your head held high instead of beating yourself up. And that's what I want y'all to focus on, okay? So yeah, I got that one be tugging at my heart, because that one took me a minute to learn, and it's something that I'm still, everything's a process, and we still move through it and learn through it and all. But yes, you can control what you can, give to God what you can, let go all that, worry. Let go all that worry, baby. But yeah, could keep putting your best foot forward, because that's a part of you controlling what you can. You can control your effort. You can control what you put into those situations to influence it. But don't beat yourself up if it doesn't go your way. And if it does, grade A. But yes, control what you can and surrender to God what you can't. I hope this resonated with you guys. If you know somebody who's got control plastered on their forehead and got everything in their life in a chokehold, send them this and just encourage them. And I encourage y'all too to take it one day at a time. And like I said, control what you can and surrender to God what you can't. Pray through it. I'll be praying for y'all too. Leave a comment or anything if y'all got any prayer requests or anything that's helped y'all like maneuver through that type of season, or still like maneuvering through it. So yeah, I love you. Continue to be mindful. I hope y'all have a great day. I hope y'all have a great week. And I will see you all in the next episode. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mindful Moments. I want y'all to remember this. Take it one step at a time. Know that you're capable. Know that you're worth it. Be intentional and know that everything you need to accomplish the things you want is already inside of you. But look, y'all, the podcast doesn't end here, okay? Be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at O_Jada. That's O with 3 H's _JADA. You can see the visuals from past episodes and segments, and maybe even some teasers for upcoming episodes. And be sure to follow and like Mindful Moments on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and even Google Podcasts. And as you go through your day, remember to be mindful of today in hopes for a better tomorrow. I'll see you in the next episode.